Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Twins Talk Arsenal. Today we're discussing the match analysis of the Arsenal v Leicester game. If you like what you hear, then feel free to like, comment and subscribe. We're more than happy to get your thoughts on the game. Moving on to the game, where to start? Overall, it was an amazing performance from Arsenal, a win which was justly deserved. A few individual performances which were, always appreciated in an Arsenal shirt. Who do you want to bring? Who do you want to start with? Do you want to start with Willian, maybe, or?
Yeah, let's start with Willian. I think it's important to start with him because he's coming for so much criticism and flack from the Arsenal fan base. And you saw this week as well, he spoke about how he kind of wanted to stay at Chelsea. If they'd given him the contract that he wanted, he would have stayed there. And I think everyone knew that he wanted to stay at Chelsea. And he also came out talking about the kind of criticism which he's received. I imagine some of it, or maybe the majority of it, from Arsenal fans as well. Criticism aimed towards him and towards his family as well, and racist criticism in some cases, which is never acceptable or should never be allowed. And then you saw him play today and really bring the kind of performance which we've wanted to see from him all season. He hasn't quite managed to hit the ground running at Arsenal, but today he came away with, I'm going to give him 2 assists. I know it's only recorded as 1, but I'll give him 2. And you really saw drive and urgency from him in his performance. I think this is the kind of player which probably Arteta is seeing on the training ground, and we haven't been able to see during matches, which has been what's so frustrating for Arsenal fans. But I really think he delivered today at a time when we needed him to, because probably a lot of players were in the red zone. They played a lot of minutes and they probably needed a rest. And Arteta needed to lean back on his resources, and they performed for him today. So very happy for Willian. What was your thought on his performance today?
Yeah, similarly to what you said, I think when the starting lineups would have been announced, maybe a lot of Arsenal fans would have been a little bit worried. No Aubameyang, no Saka, no Odegaard. He's played very well since he's come into the team as well. We're kind of missing key components, like you said, due to these players being in the red zone. As a result, we needed other players to step up. Arteta put his faith in these players. What you've got to remember as well is these are players which, in theory, have a big future at the club. You've got Lacazette, who wants to stake his claim as the main forward at Arsenal. He's got his contract's running out. He's got a year and a half left at this moment in time. So in theory, he's got to be playing for that new contract. You've got Willian, we signed him obviously on a free transfer, but when you account for his wages and that, it's big fees overall. Pepe on the other side, we didn't sign him for an immaterial fee by any means, massive signing. So, we've got players which I know they're not at this moment in time in our, A team, but these are players which want to show that they can play and be in our A team. They show Arteta in training that they can step up. But, we haven't seen this in the matches on a consistent basis. So, it was a new attacking lineup, so to speak, today's game. And the worry maybe for Arsenal fans would have been whether they would have performed. And I think, credit where credit's due. All 3 of them, Lacazette, Willian and Pepe, all came in and all had very good games for various different reasons, but they all did their designated jobs. And, it was a massive contribution and ultimately, helped us get the win. Like you said, Willian got 2 assists, we'll say. Pepe got a goal and an assist. A bit unlucky with the VAR decision potentially. And then like Lacazette stepping up as well. It could have been easy for the pressure to get to him and for him to not score that penalty just before half time. But, it was a very good performance overall, all over the pitch, to be fair as well, not just in an attacking sense. But, the players that came in needed to do a job and they did a job. So credit where credit's due.
I think, those players came in and did a job, and they also did a job after going behind again early on to a goal which we shouldn't have conceded. I think most Arsenal fans probably felt like me when they saw that goal go in and were just thinking this is going to be another one of those games, another game where we haven't been great defensively and we're just going to get rolled over by a team that's better than us. We've had this a lot lately, and it's something which Arteta really needs to kind of address. We need to be able to hold out the first 10, 15 games, especially away from home, without conceding a goal. At the moment, we went behind against Man City, we went behind against Aston Villa, now we've been behind against Leeds. all within the first 10 minutes of the game. And it means we're playing catch up in all of those games. And this game, we managed to come back and kind of stamp our authority on it. But against Man City and against Aston Villa, really those two games were 0-0 games. But because we lost it in the first 5 minutes, we lost the rest of the game, right? So yeah, big up to those players that managed to come back from that. But we need to start games strong now as well, because we can't be having good performances, but having to play catch up the whole time, as we're doing in the league in general. But yeah, just getting back to Willian and Pepe, two players which have had massive amounts of criticism this season. And today you saw that hunger and desire which Arsenal fans want to see. It's not always about getting assists or getting goals. It's about having that drive and that like intensity and that willingness to try and make something happen, which we want to see. And there were points today where I was watching Pepe come back and work hard to win the ball back. I was watching Willian actually drive towards their defense, thinking, yes, this is the kind of energy that we want to see. You know, so yeah, big performance today, I think, from this Arsenal squad. And we're going to need to pick up more points like this because we've got a hard run coming up as well.
Yeah, definitely. What I would say in terms of when Leicester got the early goal, you hit the nail on the head. We've conceded early in a lot of our recent performances against Villa, against Man City, etc. All Arsenal fans would have wanted, like you said, is, 15, 20 minutes, keep a clean sheet and build from there. Arsenal didn't manage to do that, unfortunately. And then after that, the worry becomes in 10 of Arsenal's 25 Premier League games, we haven't scored. Fair enough, 2 of them have been against Man City and, 2 of them have been against Aston Villa, who have been a very good defensive team this season. But there's been far too many games overall where maybe Arsenal have dominated possession but not managed to score, and for various reasons. And say after 5-10 minutes, this looked exactly like another one of those games. Even I think up until the half-hour mark, roughly, Arsenal dominated possession, but we weren't really creating too much. And I think all Arsenal fans would have had their head in their hands, kind of thinking, same old Arsenal kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, credit where credit's due. I do think Willian and Pepe stepped up in today's game. They showed what they're all about. Like you said, Pepe on the right-hand side kept driving at Thomas, Leicester's left back. Gave him a torrid time. This is exactly what you want to see. Willian on the other side, like you said, he showed those little bursts of pace which can get him away from a defender or a midfielder. He helped link up play between the midfield and the attack. They dominated their sides, their flanks. And this is what you want to see from an Arsenal team. These were 2 wingers which, they came in, they wanted to impress, they wanted to show what they're all about. This is exactly what we want to see. Whether it's, their maybe egos have been hurt a little bit because they haven't been getting into the team in recent weeks and they're being replaced by youngsters like Emil Smith-Rowe, Odegaard, etc. If that's the case, then great. You want to see a reaction from these players. You don't want them to be happy and content to sit on the bench. You want them to come in, okay, they're knocking on the manager's door in training. A lot of players can do that. But when it gets to game time, you want them to show what they're about and show what they can do. And we saw that in today's game, which is great. Hats off to both of them. The only thing I will say, we want to see it on a regular basis. We've got very tough games coming up, the next 5 games, the next 5 to 7 games. We've got Tottenham, we've got Liverpool, we've got Burnley, we've got Everton coming up. We've got the last 16 games of the Europa League. We're going to need a full squad and we're going to need all of these players to step up.
Yeah, I agree, because we need those kind of players on the fringes to be able to perform to get through these games, right? I think that's where Arsenal have been struggling earlier this season. And that's the difference between Man City and probably every other team, right? I think Man City's team is worth like 350 million or something crazy like that. Their bench, especially against like West Ham, was insane. No team can match that, right? And that's why Man City won this 19-game winning run. Fair play to Pep Guardiola and to Man City for getting that achievement, right? But you're effectively saying, if I gave you all the money in the world and you could buy the best players in the world and stack them up, how well could your team do, right? That's basically what Man City are doing. So yeah, they're doing very well, but they've had all the money in the world to do this, right? To get the best manager, to get the best players in every single position 2-3 times over so they can stack their bench. This is why I think, although they're a great team, their accomplishments aren't the same as say, the Man United treble winning side or the Arsenal invincible side, because that was all done not on a shoestring budget, but not on a budget that Man City have, right? And throughout the season, you've seen Arteta's fringe players fail him. And today, with Pepe, with Willian, and also you've got Mari at the back as well, and El Neni coming in as well, and both had insane games. Mari absolutely dominated Jamie Vardy. He had a very good game in centre back, and suddenly we have strengthened that position. So if we can have that kind of resources, our background resources performing well, we can hopefully cope with this glut of fixtures, difficult fixtures, which we have coming up. I just want to touch a bit more on Pablo Mari. I think the guy has been a great acquisition for Arsenal, an absolute steal for what we paid for him. And he looks like a really solid defender. It's good that we're going to have that kind of competition for Gabriel and hopefully for Saliba going forward as well, because I want to see him continue to play for Arsenal. The guy looks like a Rolls Royce. He plays very well. Everything that he does is clinical and is professional, and I really want to see him continue to perform in an Arsenal shirt. What did you think about El Neni's performance today next to Xhaka coming in for Thomas Partey?
Yeah, no, El Neni, I think he had a good performance. He stepped in. Ceballos had a difficult game in midweek on Thursday. Obviously, Partey, doesn't seem to be fully match fit, so Arteta didn't want to risk him from the start. So, it was a game for El Neni to, come into the middle of the park, step up, show what he's about, similar to Willian and Pepe. He got some game time, chance for him to impress. And yeah, I don't think he let us down at all. I think he had a very good game. Him and Xhaka in the midfield, we boss the midfield. To an extent, Leicester are a team who are happy to sit back and defend and try and counter. So you do expect to dominate the midfield, to be fair. But, El Neni was very good. I think he had a very good game overall. Yeah, he linked up well between the defence and the attack. He's that type of player that he's very disciplined as well. So you know what you're going to expect from him. He doesn't leave holes in the middle of the park. I think it was a great all-round performance from him. Credit where credit's due. We made 6 changes after the Benfica game. There were a lot of players which were in the red zone, needed a little bit of a rest. I think everyone that came in today stepped up. They showed what they were about and they did their job. And, it was definitely well-deserved from all of them. Just very quickly to touch base again on Pablo Mari. He's a great sign-in, definitely is needed by the club. When you have 2 centre-back pairings, you in general need a left-footed and a right-footed centre-back pairing. Pablo Mari offers us that left-footed centre-back. We obviously have it now with Gabriel as well, but it gives us that flexibility when one of them is injured or lacking match fitness or whatever it may be. We're happy to rotate. They're both great defenders. They can both fill that void. I think, the benefit for Arsenal at centre-back is we do have a lot of options, but we also have a lot of injuries in general, especially in that position. So now we've got the flexibility that when there's injuries, lack of match fitness, whatever it may be, we've got these players that can step in and do a job. Our centre-backs are playing very well this season. They're not where the issue lies with Arsenal overall. They're not where the issue lies with Arsenal's season, not being as good as it could have been. Quite simply, we haven't scored as much as we have in past seasons, which has been the main factor. But, our defenders have done the job in general when they've been called up and asked to do it. So, you can't complain. We conceded today, but it was the only chance that Leicester had, the only, key chance that Leicester had. Apart from that, Arsenal marshalled the game and controlled the game very well overall.
Yeah, it's a shame that we seem to be conceding for every chance that we're giving opponents at the moment. I think against Benfica, they had 2 shots to score 2 goals, right? And against Leicester today, the one great chance that they had, which we shouldn't have given them, which is annoying. Like, we backed off and invited them to shoot. But the one chance which they had, they scored. So I think we've been also a bit unlucky to be conceding as much as we are lately. I want to touch on, we spoke about kind of Pablo Mari being a great backup option for Gabriel. And I kind of want to touch on that with Emil Smith-Rowe and talk about kind of the one negative from today's performance, right? Which was Emil Smith-Rowe going off. He's been playing out on the wing for the last few games to accommodate Martin Odegaard. And I think that's robbed a few Arsenal fans up the wrong way, because obviously Martin Odegaard looks like he's going to go back to Real Madrid in 5 months' time. It also looks like he's either going to be into their first 11 if Zidane isn't there, or if he's not, it looks like he's going to be used as a make weight for any deal which comes with the guy from Borussia Dortmund. What's his name?
What, Hangeland or
Hangland, that's it.
Sancho?
Hangland. It looks like he's going to be used as part of that deal, because I know Borussia Dortmund are quite keen on him. So this was a chance really for Emil Smith Rowe to kind of get back to the position which he loves to play, demonstrate how important he is, and really flourish. And the fact that we saw him go off injured is heartbreaking for a lot of Arsenal fans. It looks like a long-term injury to me. It looks like it's going to be a few weeks, if not a few months, which is really disappointing for Emil and his development. But it also goes to show how important Arsenal's work was in the January transfer window. We were saying from the beginning that we needed a creative midfielder to come in and back up Emil Smith Rowe, not to hurt his development, but to be there to fill his space if he got injured, because he's got a massive injury problem. He does get injured a lot. And today you saw why. Odegaard came in and absolutely smashed it. He looks like a classy player, and he's only 22 years old. I really think Odegaard was an important signing for Arsenal to make. And hopefully it's a hint that we're becoming a bit more switched on, a bit more savvy with our transfers, with Edu and with Arteta feeding into that, as opposed to previous transfers we've made, say 72 million for Nicolas Pepe. What do you think? Do you think today really demonstrated how important that bit of business in January was to Arsenal?
Yeah, 100%. I think we've touched upon it in previous videos. As good as Emil Smith Rowe has been since Christmas, and he has been good when he's come into the team. We've touched upon it previously. He's had a bad injury record. He got injured playing for RB Leipzig. He got injured playing for Huddersfield. Everywhere he's gone, he's had little injuries here and there, which have kind of stunted his development. Even at Arsenal, he's had numerous injuries already throughout his early career. It's a tough one. I think he's a good player, and you definitely want him to be the number 10 when he's fully fit. But we can't place that reliance on him. We need other players who can step up and play in that position as and when needed. Arteta tried it a little bit with Willian. It didn't seem to work out for various reasons, so he's shunted Willian back to the wing. But it showed the need for us to go out and sign a number 10 who could fill that void as and when needed. And like you said, it was a very good bit of business in January to sign Odegaard on loan for this exact reason. We don't know how long Emil Smith Rowe will be out for now. Could be a few weeks, could be a few months. So, we needed a player who can come in and fill that void so that Arsenal aren't negatively impacted. And yeah, like you said, Odegaard, he looked very good when he came on. Didn't have a proper warm-up, so he warmed up at half-time. But yeah, in the second half, Odegaard definitely showed what it was about. It was a good performance from him as well. I think the key thing with Arsenal and what Arteta's building is, we've got that culture, I think, that when players are now coming on or they're starting games, they're wanting to show what they're all about. They're wanting to impress Arteta. They're not coming on just to, just for the minutes or, just to make an appearance here and there or whatever. They're coming on and they've got that drive and determination, that desire to want to do well. And, at the end of the day, they should be, it's their jobs, they're being paid to do it. But it can be hard to motivate players sometimes to actually do a good job. And it looks like Arteta is doing that. He looks to be getting the best out of the team. And, that's all you can ask for. I think Arsenal have had a bit of a tough period this season, Arteta especially, maybe after the highs of winning the FA Cup last season, expectations on Arteta this season would have also been high. The season hasn't quite gone to plan. Don't get me wrong, we're still in the Europa League and that offers us a route to the Champions League. But quite simply, the Premier League performances overall haven't been good enough. The Carling Cup and FA Cup performances really haven't been good enough. Even if you don't win them or go too far, you want to go fairly far in those competitions. But Arsenal got knocked out quite early in both of them. So I think a lot of the optimism which would have been built from winning the FA Cup last season has kind of disappeared this season, which I don't think is Arteta's fault. He does need time to build his team with his personality, etc. But I'm happy for him. We got the win today. We got the win against Benfica, and we went through to the last 16. It builds momentum, and if we can, obviously there's no guarantees, but if we can win the Europa League, finish strongly in the Premier League, even I'm not saying we get top 4, but if we have a strong finish, that's the most important thing. And then it's just about building momentum for next season. I know we can say we had these thoughts last season, but you build that momentum, and you never know what happens. If we win the Europa League, I think it would be massive.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think he's come in for some unfair criticism this season, and I think we do have a real chance to win the Europa League. The game against Olympiacos, some people will see it as a negative, but I see it as a chance for us to get revenge against Olympiacos for what happened last year. And also, the games against Olympiacos last year don't fill me with fear. I'm not scared about playing this team because we're a better team than this team. And we were unlucky. We weren't unlucky to go out last year, but we should have gone through. And I think we can rectify that this year. So yeah, also I've got some important games coming up. Hopefully we can get a good result against Burnley. We've got a week's rest, so our players can actually relax after the intensity of the last few weeks. Get away from the red zone, actually rest their muscles a little bit, hopefully come out and perform against Burnley. And then we've got some massive games after that. Was there anything else you wanted to touch on, or?
No, I think, we covered all the key points. It was a great performance overall from the lads today. Good team selection from Arteta. Might have been a bit nervous at the beginning, but it works out in the end. Emma Smith-Rowe's injury is a bit unfortunate, but we've got Odegaard luckily stepping in and filling the void. I think we've definitely got some big games coming up, and let's just hope that we can get some good results and, noticeably get revenge on Olympiacos.
Yeah. So we will catch you later, guys, but great victory for Arsenal today. Hopefully we continue it and continue to climb up the Premier League table and progress in the Europa League as well. We will catch you after our next game. Until then, stay strong and up the Gunners. Bye, guys.